From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 2nd, 2017. Silver is trading at $18.39 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,213. Antiwar.com reports having invaded northern Syria last August, Turkish forces and their rebel allies have been very deliberate about occupying a large swath of the Aleppo province and have been very public about their intention to go after the Kurdish YPG forces as well as the Islamic State. On Wednesday, they seemed to be making good on those threats, attacking Kurdish forces on the outskirts of the city of Manbij, a city which Turkey's President Erdogan has long coveted taking from the Kurds and which he described last week as Turkey's next target. Reports of fighting in the area centering around a string of villages west of Manbij, which are under the control of the Manbij Military Council, which is ultimately a YPG faction in everything but name. Heavy fighting and artillery bombardment were reported in the area. Turkey's position is that the Kurds must not be allowed on the western side of the Euphrates River, which is where Manbij lies. The YPG seized Manbij from the Islamic State last year with heavy backing from the U.S. and remains closely allied with U.S. forces, which makes their open warfare with Turkey, a member of NATO, hugely problematic for the U.S. Turkey has been arguing that the YPG are terrorists and condemning U.S. attempts to forestall fighting between the two sides. U.S. officials maintain that there is no evidence the YPG is in any way a threat to Turkey, though Turkey's long-standing hostility towards all things Kurds is going to be tough for the U.S. to deal with going forward. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports 7 Baltimore police officers were arrested and indicted Wednesday on federal racketeering charges. The officers are accused of robbing local residents, filing false affidavits, and making fraudulent overtime claims, according to the Justice Department at a news conference on Wednesday. One officer was also indicted in a separate drug distribution case by the DOJ. The year-long investigation involved the FBI, the DEA, and the Baltimore Police Department. Maryland U.S. Attorney Rod J. Rosenstein said the officers were involved in a pernicious conspiracy scheme that included abuse of power. He said their conduct tarnishes the reputation of all police officers. Some of the officers were members of an elite police unit focusing on removing guns from city streets. Police Commissioner Kevin Davis said the indictments were embarrassing for the department. In one alleged incident in March 2016, 4 indicted officers allegedly stole $200,000 from a safe they opened and from 2 bags they seized. They also allegedly stole other property. In August of 2016, 4 indicted officers allegedly stole narcotics and $1,700 from a man during a traffic stop before letting him go. 3 of the officers that day also allegedly stole $1,500 earned by a man as a maintenance supervisor at a nursing home that he was going to use to pay his rent. Officers allegedly filed for overtime they didn't work the same time period, totaling $500,000 according to court documents. One officer charged overtime to the city while on vacation in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. In August, the DOJ announced in a report it found the department violated the individual's constitutional rights by conducting unlawful stops and using excessive force. The report said this situation was mainly in poor minority neighborhoods. In January, the DOJ and City of Baltimore agreed to sweeping reforms to the department. A U.S. District Court judge still must approve the binding agreement. Davis said, "We would not be under a consent decree if we didn't have issues." Baltimore Deputy Public Defender Natalie Finnegar said the majority of the indicted officers had significant credibility issues. She said, "I'm going to go over these indictments with every one of our clients with a fine-tooth comb, and it could very well mean that those cases end up dismissed. If you can't rely on those officers' credibility and you can't call those officers as witnesses, then what are you going to rely on for evidence?" Police Union President Gene S. Ryan said, "We are very disturbed over the charges filed against our members by the U.S. Attorney. These officers are entitled to due process and a fair trial in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of our state." Last year, 6 police officers were acquitted or had charges dropped in the April 2015 death of Freddie Gray. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.